in Nederland. Jane Elliot laat de cursisten voor 1 dag in de huid van een ander kruipen, om ze zo op zeer confronterende wijze te laten voelen wat het is om tot een minderheidsgroep te behoren.
Happy to be treated as this society in general treats our citizens, our black citizens. If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for and lesbians, to people who have disabilities of any kind, to those who are obviously physically different. We are going to lower our expectations for these people, and we are going to force them to live down to our expectations of them.
I wrote my name, she said, now write it so I can read it.
How have they been prepared to come in here?
Not at all.
They're just sitting
We
and
just
talking.
sent them into a room in which there are 3 chairs for 17 people. Now,
It's hot in there.
it's hot in there. Is it hot in there? Well, then it's probably smelly, isn't it? Because blue-eyed people sweat a lot, and you know they don't smell good. So I wouldn't want to be in that room after they've been in there. We don't tell them anything. We just send them to the holding room. A new reality is going to be created for these folks this morning. Now, we're going to treat these people negatively on the basis of the color of their eyes. And the reason I use eyes is because eye color is caused by the same chemical that skin color is caused by. If you have lots and lots of melanin in your hair, your skin, and your eyes, you have very dark hair, dark skin, and dark eyes. If you have only a little melanin in your hair, your skin, and your eyes, you have light skin, light hair, and light eyes. Now, having light skin, the first people on this earth, the first modern human beings on this earth, evolved near the equator in sub-Saharan Africa in about 280,000 years ago. They needed lots and lots of melanin to protect their cells from the rays of the sun. That's what melanin does for you. As people migrated farther and farther north, their bodies were exposed to less and less sunlight, so their bodies produced less and less melanin. So people in northern climates have much less melanin in their skin, their hair, and their eyes than people in southern climates did who evolved at that time. Now, folks, as people's hair and skin got lighter, it didn't have a bad effect on their brains. But as their eyes got lighter, it allowed more and more light to enter their eyes, pierce their brain cells, and damage their brains. And that's why blue-eyed people aren't as smart as brown-eyed people. Make sense to you? Why are you laughing? It's ridiculous, isn't it? People, it is no more ridiculous to make that statement about eye color than it is to make the statements that we traditionally have made about skin color. If it makes good sense to judge people by the amount of melanin in their skin, then it makes equally good sense, more good sense, to judge them by the amount of melanin in their eyes. And that's what we're going to do this morning. All we're going to do is spend about 2.5 hours treating these people negatively on the basis of a physical characteristic over which they have no control. Now, they aren't going to like this. If you do your job right, they aren't going to like this. Is that going to make me happy? Yes, yes, because I want them to be uncomfortable, and I want you to help them to be uncomfortable.
Keep the noise down. Keep the noise down. I'm not playing. Everybody keep the noise down. And whoever messed with the door, leave it alone.
That was them.
Who was it? Keep the noise down.
Blue-eyed people aren't as smart as brown-eyed people. I can prove that to you by giving you and them the Dove Counterbalance Intelligence Test. Now, this is an intelligence test that was developed by a black male a number of years ago, and the purpose of this test is to give white folks the opportunity to find out how it feels to take a test about which you know virtually nothing, and have your IQ based on your ability to pass a test about which you know nothing, that you have learned nothing about. We do this with people of color and with immigrants in this country all the time, and we base our judgment of their IQs on their ability to respond to items about which they haven't learned. The blue-eyed people aren't going to know many of these answers because they aren't very intelligent, because they haven't had to learn about people who are different from themselves, because they have only had to learn about white culture. You people, you brown-eyed people, are going to know at least half of these answers because you are smart, and you are caring, and you are curious about those who are different from yourselves, and you've learned a whole lot about those who are different from yourselves, and I'm going to give you the even-numbered responses. The rules for the day are going to be that you will not look at these people unless you can either frown or sneer at them. It's all right to laugh at them, but do not laugh with them. How many of you have friends in the blue-eyed group? Let me put it this way. How many of you used to have friends in the blue-eyed group? Now, some of these people are going to leave here very, very angry. Make no mistake about this. That is their choice. When they leave here and they say they're angry, you need to be prepared to say to them, wait a minute. You had it for 2.5 hours. Your home wasn't threatened. Your family wasn't threatened. Your job wasn't threatened. Your income wasn't threatened. Your future wasn't threatened. And you had it for 2.5 hours, and you knew it was temporary. You knew it was going to be over at least by 6 o'clock this afternoon. Why are you so angry? And if you are so angry after 2.5 hours, can you apply that, the way you feel about that anger to what it must feel like? That adult, sophisticated, educated, white males in positions of some power, and in a couple of cases, I think, real power, can't stand for 2.5 hours what you expect the child of color to live with from the moment he or she is born. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that these white people can't stand 2.5 hours of being treated verbally the way they treat other people for a lifetime? Because if you do, you've just admitted something extremely interesting. You have just said that people of color are stronger than white folks. That we have created a situation in this country in which we have built tremendous strengths into people of color, and in which we have not built those same tremendous character strengths into white folks, particularly white males. Does that bother you at all?
It's called survival.
It's called survival. Absolutely. It's a survival skill. Bear in mind that these people are in their child ego state, and that's where they're going to stay, because people are easiest to control when they're in their child ego state. So these people are being treated like children, and they're going to act like children, and it's what we do with females in this country every day. We treat them like children, and when they act like children, we say, see, you're acting like that because you're female. Now, people, if you are tempted to look at one of these people and wink at them, to let them know, without me catching you, that you really don't mean any of this, I'll change your eye color so fast it'll make your head swim. So just let me catch you looking at your tall white friend here. Just let me catch you doing that, friend. Let me see your eyes. Oh, you'll join them quick. You'll, right away. You want to be with them? Okay, Brownie, you're going to be a bluey. It will not make you comfortable. Now, people, all I'm asking you to do is act white. That's all I'm asking. Just act white. You white people know how to act white. You've been doing it all your lives. You people of color know how to act white. The way to get ahead in this society, if you're a person of color, is to act as white as you possibly can. Now, am I exaggerating here? Is that the message that this society sends?
Assimilate.
Assimilate really means act white. Assimilate means be as similar to the power group as you possibly can be, which means act white. And you can turn intelligent, bright, committed, conscientious, ambitious people into people who act lazy and slovenly and stupid and slow and unmotivated. And you can do it in 15 to 20 minutes, and that's what you're going to do this
Martin Luther King was killed on April 4th, 1968. I was teaching 3rd grade in an all-white, all-Christian community. I needed to explain the death of Martin Luther King to my students. I didn't know how to do it, except by allowing them to walk in the shoes of a child of color for a day. The first time I did it, no one knew until my students wrote essays about it, and those were published in the paper. And then the Johnny Carson show called and asked me if I would come in and do the Johnny Carson show. Then people in the community found out about it. Then all kinds of unpleasant things happened. I got vicious calls in the night. We got, probably between 500 and 600 letters, a third of them so ugly and so obscene that I couldn't share them with my 3rd graders. That fall, when people came to register their children for school, their offspring for school, 20% of those who had children coming into 3rd grade said to the principal, "Don't put my kid in Elliot's classroom." Every year after that, the same thing happened, only sometimes parents would call in and say, "I don't want my kid in that nigger lover's classroom." And the principal never had to say, "Which nigger lover do you mean?" Because we all knew there was only one. My children were beaten and spit on, my own offspring. We have 4 children. They were abused by their peers, by their teachers, by the parents of their peers. My parents lost their business. My father died totally isolated 3 years ago in the community in which his great-grandfather was one of the first settlers, isolated because he had raised the town's nigger lover. I've learned a whole lot about racism.
Do you think she can blame it on? You'll blame it on somebody, but who carried it and put it over there? He did. Do you trust that, Bluey?
No.
I wouldn't trust that, Bluey, but you can if you want to. Now, I want those collars on the outside of your coat collar or dress collar or blouse collar or shirt collar or whatever it is you're wearing. And I want the collars taken good care of at all times, and I want the pin under your chin. Put the tag of her dress in, will you? That's so she got half dressed this morning. Now, people, before... You can't arrange that properly?
I guess not.
I guess not. Fix it. Now, do you have any physical problems that will be made worse by sitting on the floor for an extended period of time?
Doubt it.
Don't give me I doubt it. Yes or no? No back problems, no hip problems, no leg problems. No heart problems, no high blood pressure, nothing like that. How about you? How about you?
No.
You?
Do you care?
No, but I have to know because if something happens during this, you're liable to file a lawsuit. So I want to know going into it whether or not you have any problems. I don't want them made worse because I don't want to have to take a lawsuit out of this. Do you understand that?
No.
No. Oh, you don't understand that? Well, your low IQ is another one of the problems I'm going to have to deal with today. Now, do you have any physical problems that will be made worse by sitting on the floor for an extended period of time? Yes or no?
I'll say no.
He's going to say no. Does that mean he doesn't have, or does that mean he's going to say no now, and later he's going to accuse me of having made him
You can't
worse?
trust it.
Can I trust this boy? No. Is he playing games?
Yes.
Am I going to put up with him?
No.
Do you have any physical problems that will be made worse by sitting on the floor for an extended period of time? Yes or no? Do you or do you not?
You don't care.
Honey,
Typical.
honey, if you want caring, go to your mother. Do I look like your mother to you?
She's dead.
Then go to some other nurturing female in your environment. That is not what I am about. Do you have any physical problems that will be made worse by sitting on the floor for an extended period of time? What is difficult about answering that?
There's no sense in it if you don't care.
The purpose of this is to find out whether you are going to be in worse shape physically after this is over as a result of sitting on the floor. I don't want you to be. I care because I don't want you suing me. So there, I care. Now,
That's what I wanted to
I
hear.
care. Do you or do you not?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Whoa.
Thanks for caring.
Whoa. Friend, I don't care about you. You need to understand that I don't care about you, I care about me.
Then you need to realize maybe I lied to you.
I care about me. If you lied to me, we have it on tape that you said no.
And I have
So
it on
now,
tape that I
if
don't
you,
care.
so now, if you try to sue us, forget it.
And
I
have it on
care,
tape that
I care about the repercussions for my sake, not for your own. Understand that?
But I care about you.
Oh, good, good. Then don't make me spend my precious time messing with you anymore.
Okay, that's your
All right, all right?
Yeah.
Yes. Once again, do we care?
No.
Do some people like being treated like babies? Yes. Do we have to take care of them? Yes. Do we have to see to it that they're sitting in the right place? Yes. Do we have to see to it that they're facing the right direction?
Yes.
Yes. Why do we have to do that? Because most of them are stupid, and where do they spend most of their time? In what ego state? Their child ego state. Have we seen examples? Now, the second.
May I ask a question?
Good listener, I was just talking, and you interrupted me and started to talk. You're a real poor case, aren't you?
Well, I was going to ask a question.
What's your question?
I was going to say if I could have my paper and pencil back so that I could take notes and get to my adult state.
Now, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Every time I look at you, you're sitting there with that sick smirk on your face. If you can't look up without smiling, the next time I see that smile, I'm going to come down on you real, real hard. Okay? You're going to feel like a cow pat on a hot rock. So if I were you, if you can't hide your smile, drop your head so I don't have to see it. Just look down when I'm coming towards you so I don't have to see that smile. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
If you have a nervous twitch and you can't help smiling, put your face down so that I can't see you doing it, because I take exception to it, and that's not good for you. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Yes. If you're going to get through this workshop, you are going to live down to my expectations of you. Because if you don't live down to my expectations of you, we're going to call you an uppity bluey. And we're going to ride your tail until you do live down to our expectations of us. How do I know how to do this?
By your observations
Of what?
of what happens in society.
That's right. We, in the power position in society, know how to keep people in their place by lowering our expectations for them and by forcing them to live down to our expectations of them. Did I teach him something?
Yes.
Was it a valuable lesson?
Yes, very much.
No, it wasn't. No, that isn't. That is not a valuable lesson, to teach people to submit to tyranny. Get real. That is not a valuable lesson. That is a dastardly lesson, and you need to realize it. You need to realize that what I just did to him today, Newt Gingrich is doing to you all the time by saying people who think like him are normal and other people are not. And you're going along with that. You are submitting to tyranny in order to be called normal, for God's sake. You'd be better off to be called subnormal. I didn't just teach him a valuable lesson. I taught him to go along to get along. I taught him to submit to oppression. Now, I'm going to teach you the listening skills. Since you have already indicated that you have difficulty remembering things, I'm going to ask you to write these things down. Take out a piece of paper and a pencil. Write exactly what I say, exactly as I say it. Number one, good listeners keep their eyes. What are you doing? Good listeners keep their eyes on the person who is speaking. Write it quickly before you forget it. Good listeners keep their eyes on the person who is speaking. good listeners, keep their eyes on the person who is speaking. What are you doing? You have it written?
No,
Why not?
because my hands are still quiet from the first skill.
Didn't I say write it down?
Yeah,
Write it down.
and violate the first one.
Write it down. I said write it down. Do it. Do it now. What are you waiting for? Now I'm going to warn you about something. In case you don't recognize it, I'm messing with your mind. Now, I told him to conform, and then I said it was stupid to conform. So then you decided that you wouldn't conform. So now you're in trouble. Now, what had you better do?
You never know what to do.
That's right. That's right. Just the minute you think you've caught on to the rule, what did I do?
You changed the
I
rules.
changed the rules, people. Am I good?
You're good.
Am I good? Do I know how to do this?
Absolutely.
I'm a white female. I learned how to do this at my mother's knee. I know exactly how to do this. I can turn you every which way but loose. And there ain't no way you can win. And we can do this outside this room. Our society does this on a daily basis. Trade places with him. Now, I don't want you to talk to him. Oh, I think you're in the wrong place. You trade places with him. Now, the reason I put you back here is when you're beside her, her behaviors rub off on you, and your behaviors rub off on her, and you support and reinforce one another. And I don't want that to happen. So in order to keep that from happening and keep you from getting into trouble, I put you back here where that won't happen to you. Did I do this to be mean to you?
Probably in your mind, no.
No,
You were helping
no.
me.
I am helping you, and how should you feel about that?
I expect you should think I should be grateful.
And are you?
No.
Why not?
Because
Is it
I like
because you're
having
an
the support.
ingrate? Because
No.
you like having the support? You are willing to take the support, even if it means getting you in trouble.
Yes.
Does this man like to suffer?
He doesn't know any better.
You like to suffer.
He's a martyr.
Does martyrdom appeal to you?
No.
No. Is there any way you can win here?
Not under the present rules, no.
Have you won yet?
Not yet.
Am I going to let you win?
You don't want me to win.
Am I going to let you win? Where's the only place you can win in this situation?
I can.
Can you win in your mind?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So within me, I can.
Within you, you can win. But will I know that you have won within you?
Yes.
No, I won't. And neither will they. Because we will use everything you do against you. I won't know that you have reinforced yourself inside yourself. But will you know that?
Yes.
Yes. Is that valuable to you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Is that going to be hard for you to keep on doing that while I keep on badgering you?
Yes.
Yes. Are you going to have to keep working and working and working to make that happen? Is
Yes.
that fair?
Every
No.
day.
Shit, no, it isn't fair. Did you think this was going to be a fair day?
No.
No. Do you think what goes on outside here is fair?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. You spend a whole lot of time outside here holding it in and winning inside yourself even though society doesn't want you to?
Yes.
Yes. And do you?
Yes.
Who do you think spends more time in that endeavor? You or that man right there?
Probably that man.
Probably that man right there.
Probably.
What I'm doing to that man and to you happens to his children, unless I'm mistaken, in the school on a daily basis. Am I mistaken?
All the time.
All the time. And when you watch that happen to your children, and know you'd better maintain a low profile if you want them to get through the school year, what does that do to you?
Tears me up.
Tears you up. What does it make your sons think of you?
It's a difficult situation.
Difficult situation. And who makes that situation difficult?
You know who makes it difficult.
I know who makes it difficult. You're damn right I know who makes it difficult. I make it difficult, and people who look like me make it difficult. And do we spend a whole lot of time feeling badly about it?
And we talk a lot about it.
This town calls itself the city of beautiful maples, and these are all hard maple trees lining both sides of most of the streets in town. In 2 weeks, they will all be these gorgeous yellow and orange and red and gold colors. And people will come from miles around to see the color in our trees. And this city is just so proud of that wonderful, wonderful color in these trees. But they do not want people of color to come and reside in this community. We love color in our trees. We do not want it in our skin. And it breaks my heart because it is so, because this is a beautiful little community, and they're very proud of their feelings for one another, the size of their churches. Their churches are full every Sunday, and every Saturday night. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful place to raise children. As long as you don't want to raise children of color here. It's heartbreaking. The first time I did this exercise in 1968, my parents sold 42 lunches in their little hotel lunchroom in Riceville. The day after it was shown, they sold 2. They never sold more than that again. That was the end of their business. Their business was killed by what I do. Somebody has said good deeds won't go long unpunished. I found out how very true that is. I learned a lot about racism in a short time. And it wouldn't have bothered me as much if I had been the only one they exposed to that kind of behavior. But nobody confronted me in all those years. To this day, no one, other than my peers one time, have confronted me. But they got at me through my children and my parents. And I find that very, very difficult to forgive. The Jews have a saying. They say that you have the right to forgive others for what they do to you. You do not have the right to forgive them for what they do to others. I can't forgive them for what they did to my children. My children have to do that. See, in retrospect, I know that I could have made life easier for my parents. Could have made life easier for my father. Could have made my life easier for my husband and for my children. And it took me a long time to get over the feeling that I had done something wrong. I wish it hadn't been that way for my parents. But I could not change people in Riceville in their attitudes toward them. I wish it hadn't been that way for my offspring. But I couldn't change what people did. I could have stopped doing what I did. But there would have been a whole lot of learning that didn't take place. And there would have been some good things that didn't happen to my offspring. And if I had stopped, it would have been saying to my kids, when things get unpleasant, just stop what you're doing. Just go along to get along. That wasn't a message I wanted to send to them.
What's big time stress to you, if you don't mind telling us?
Every morning when I get up and go in my bathroom and look in my mirror, that's when my stress begins. Because I go to a school where I am one of 2 black teachers.
Out of how many teachers?
60.
2 black teachers
2.
In a school with 60 teachers, and you're one of the 2.
One of the 2. That's stress.
And are you treated differently on the basis of how you look in the mirror when you get up in the morning?
Sure I am.
And you know it's happening?
Sure I do.
And you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
And you can identify it?
Sure I can.
And if you describe it to your white peers, what do they say?
Oh, Linda, please. That's not happening. It couldn't be happening.
What about you? Is this big time stress for you, as far as you're concerned? No. Do you get stressed like this?
Oh, yes.
Do you have to perform in spite of it?
Yes, I do.
You have to do your job whether the stress is there or not.
Right.
If you give in to the stress, what do you have to give up?
My job.
Your job. This look a lot like a lot of stress to you?
Very much so.
It does?
Yes.
Do you think these people are stressed a lot?
Well, they're stressed, but not what we go through.
Now, in your heart of hearts, all you people know that I'm lying to you about blue eyes. There's nothing wrong with having eyes of a color other than brown. And you know I'm wrong. Does that give you any satisfaction whatsoever? To know that I'm wrong? Is that making it all easier for you to go through this? No. You can transcend your eye color. Can you transcend my behaviors on the basis of your eye color? No. Can you transcend my eyeism? No. Can you change what is happening in here to you because you know that I'm wrong? No. All you can do is sit there and take it. Tell me what stress is.
Stress is
Now, wait a minute. He volunteered to tell me what stress is. I do not ask people of color to bleed all over the floor for white folks. I don't do that. You want to tell us?
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell us.
Stress is knowing that when you send a son or a daughter to school, that they have to start learning how to be the best. And no matter what they say or what they do, it's never good enough. Because I'm always going to find something wrong with it. To the point of where I'm going to make you so frustrated that you get into a situation where you become unstable and you can't be taught. So now you have to go over here. Now we have to test you. And we're going to tell you what's wrong with your child. We're going to make him a statistic. We're going to keep him in the background continuously. And you have to day in and day out talking to him. There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you. You can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And he continues to come home hurt, sometimes in fights, and you have to continue to keep doing it over and over and over. And the sad thing about it is that we waste so much time in trying to keep the self-esteem up that we lose the time that he could be learning. And they know that. Now that's what stress is.
You're going to interview some students tomorrow, some former students of mine, who were in my classroom the third year that I did this exercise. They were in a film called The Eye of the Storm, and we took still photographs of those children each day of that exercise, one when they were on the top and one when they were on the bottom. And I have some of those here. The interesting part about these pictures is you can take a child who's a perfectly happy, normal human being on one day, and by putting a collar on him and telling him he's inferior, you can turn him into a frightened, vulnerable, intimidated, suspicious child who cannot succeed on the day he's in the wrong place. This is Sandy on the day she was on the bottom. And this is Sandy on the day she was on the top. Sandy's the one who said, when we did our reunion, 5 years after they graduated from high school, I asked Sandy whether having had this exercise when she was in third grade had changed her life at all. She's the one who said, yeah, now when I hear one of those bigoted remarks, I wish I had one of those collars in my pocket. And I could take it out and I could whip it around that person's neck and I could say, now you wear that for 2 weeks and see how you'd like to live that way for a lifetime. Rex is the one who said, I'll have that collar in my pocket for the rest of my life. I can't get that collar out of my pocket. This is just one day in these children's lives. And look at the difference. What if she had to live this way if she expected to live this way for a lifetime? You would soon begin to doubt her intelligence, and so would she. Every day of the exercise, each day of the exercise, the children had to draw themselves as they felt that day. This was all in yellow, and there's an angel on his head. on the day he's on the top. On the day he's on the bottom, this is all in black, and there are flames, red flames up in here, and there's a little red devil on top of his head. But if you feel like this when you go to school in the morning, every day, or if you feel like this every morning when you go to school, are you going to do a better job than when you feel like this? And how dare society force people to live this way?
It might be interesting to judge people today by the color of their eyes. Would you like to try this? Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Since I'm the teacher and I have blue eyes, I think maybe the blue-eyed people should be on top the first day. I mean, the blue-eyed people are the better people in this room. Oh, yes, they are. Blue-eyed people are smarter than brown-eyed people. They are cleaner than brown-eyed people. And if you don't believe it, look at Brian. The brown-eyed people do not get to use the drinking fountain. You'll have to use the paper cups. You brown-eyed people are not to play with the blue-eyed people on the playground because you are not as good as blue-eyed people. Well, the brown-eyed people in this room today are going to wear collars so that we can tell from a distance what color your eyes are.
And it seemed like when we were down on the bottom, everything bad was happening to us. It seemed like Mrs. Elliot was taking our best friends away from us.
What happened at recess? Were two of you boys fighting?
Yeah! Russell called me names and I hit him in the gut.
What did he call you?
Brown eyes.
What's wrong with being called brown eyes?
It means that we're stupider. No, not that. Oh, that's just the same way as other people call black people niggers.
Is that the reason you hit him, John? Did it help? Did it stop him?
The first reaction I get from teachers who see this film or from who hear me discuss what I do, say to me, how can you do that to these little children? How can you put those little children through that exercise for a day? And they seem unable to relate the sympathy that they're feeling for these little white children for a day to what happens to children of color in this society for a lifetime, or to the fact that they are doing this to children based on skin color every day, and I'm only doing this as an exercise that every child knows is an exercise, and every child knows is going to end at the end of the day.
Let's take these collars off. What would you like to do with them?
Throw them away.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Don't eat them like great.
Oh, you found your friend, huh?
This older woman in the middle of this group stood up and said, Mrs. Elliot, I came here to tell you how much I hate you. I said, okay, well, go ahead. You know, this isn't a new experience. She said, I am Jewish. I was born and raised in Germany. She said, we went to a Jewish school. Every morning when our headmaster came in, we would bow and say, good morning, Herr Headmaster. She said, one morning he came in with 2 SS troopers. And one of the SS troopers said to us, in the future, you decadent Jews will no longer bow and say, good morning, Herr Headmaster. You will salute and say, Heil Hitler. She said, I watched those of us who valued our life more than our faith salute and say, Heil Hitler. She said, those who valued their faith more than life itself continued to bow and say, good morning, Herr Headmaster. She said, they disappeared and we never saw them again, but we know what happened to them. She said, your students are very fortunate. They will never allow to happen in their society what we allowed to happen in ours. They'll see it coming and they'll put a stop to it. Then she said something that frightens me to this day. She said, the atmosphere that you created for your students in your classroom with your blue-eyed, brown-eyed exercise reminded me of the atmosphere, the environment that the Nazis created for the Jews in Germany. Now, people of color, particularly blacks, who see the film The Eye of the Storm, which was in my classroom, the 3rd year I did the exercise, say to me when it's over, that's the way I live every day of my life. And that's in what we call the land of the free and the home of the brave. We have created an environment in this country for 11 to 12% of our population in which they feel the way the Jews felt in Nazi Germany. White people say to me, I don't see it that way. Of course they don't see it that way. They don't live it that way. We do not live the same reality in this country. White people do not live as people of color do. Now, I need to know, how did you feel about what you went through this morning? The words that you have written came out of your feelings, right? Nobody else's. Okay, read your 3 words.
Confused, sad, and some humor.
Sad. Any of you people sad this morning? You looked sad. What were you sad about?
I'm sad because I have to stay on the carpet, and I didn't get any coffee, and I didn't get any donuts.
Valley girl? Like, wow, man. And I'll tell you something else. Yes. I'm going to give you a really valuable piece of advice.
Okay.
Get over cute.
Okay.
Now, I'm absolutely serious about this. Get over cute. Because you'll be cute until you're about 45. And then at 45, you won't be cute anymore. You'll just be an old broad. And there'll be a whole bunch of 18 to 40-year-olds there who are cuter than you are. And at that point, you will say, I want that promotion. And somebody will say to you, well, but see, I don't think of you as qualified. I just think of you as cute. And then you're going to howl sexism. Females, get over cute. Get competent. Get trained. Get capable. Get over cute. And those of you who are called Patty and Betty and Susie, get over that. Because we use those names to infantilize females. We keep females in their little girl state by the names we use for them. Get over it. If you want to be taken seriously, get serious. Get over it. Why didn't you defend her?
It's like if you're picking on her, you're not picking on me. And so by the rules I kind of saw, it's like I'm just going to sit back and lay low.
And let her do it to them. It's what makes racism work, people. It's what makes homophobia work, people. It's what makes sexism work. It's what's going to make ageism work. To sit back and do nothing is to cooperate with the oppressor. As long as you folks did nothing, I was free to do whatever I chose to.
I think the thing that made me most scared was when we talked about the just doing this for a day, and how it really is a lifetime thing for so many folks.
And why does that scare you?
It scared me. I really got in touch with just the incredible injustice that I'm a part of.
Yeah, yeah.
It really scared me.
Yeah.
I guess probably the biggest thing is that it's really hard for me to believe that one person can make a difference.
Have I made a difference in you?
Yeah.
How many people do you think I am? At the end of the Second World War, when they cleaned out the concentration camps in Germany, a Lutheran minister said, when they came for the Jews, I wasn't Jewish, so I did nothing. When they came for the homosexuals, I wasn't homosexual, so I did nothing. When they came for the gypsies, I wasn't gypsy, so I did nothing. When they came for me, there was no one left to do anything. Now, think about it. Just think about that.